Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints episode 265. Your weekly little get-together, we talk about recent gaming news. As always, your host, Stephen Brown, and joining me today is...
I'm David.
Tonight, David, hype has already ruined Starfield, Timesplitters is back, and GameStop hops on the NFT train. But first, before we get into any of that, I want everyone here to know this is an audience interactive podcast. So if you're watching here live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. over at Twitch TV/GamePoints, or later over at youtube.com/GamePointsPC, please feel free to join in the conversation with any questions, comments, concerns you might have. Just try to keep them germane to the topics on hand. David.
Yes.
Valheim still has you hard, doesn't it?
Mostly. I also started because there's a free trial available playing Knockout City.
I was hoping you'd bring that up because I saw you playing that.
Because
it's doing really well, apparently.
I looked at it at first and I was like, it is what it is. We'll see. And yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's 3v3 dodgeball with a lot of movement mechanics. So there's lots of ways to actually dodge the ball. And it's fun. I enjoy it so far. I don't know if I'm going to pay for it because it's currently in a free trial. So it just kind of depends on how much it costs.
So it's not going to be actually free to play. It's going to be...
Nope.
Okay. So
as far as I know, it is a game that you pay for that is currently having a free weekend.
Okay. Well, definitely take a look at it, see if it's up your alley if you're interested. I played two things over the past week.
Yeah?
What I want to bring up. First up, I played an early access build of Phantom Brigade. Now, This game has been in early access for a while, but the people at Brace Yourself Games were kind enough to send me a code to it, so I took a look at it. This game has you written all over it.
Oh, really?
You know what Phantom Brigade is?
I've heard of it, but I haven't paid much attention.
So, it is a mech combat game that plays like Frozen Synapse. Where you plot out your moves, and then everything happens simultaneously for like 5 seconds. And then pauses.
Yeah, that's terrific.
But there's also massive mech customization to it. Upper torso, bottom torso, left and right limbs, legs you can replace and swap out on. A myriad of weapons, sniper rifles, melee weapons, shotguns, railguns, etc.
Man, why the hell was this not on my radar?
This game is up your radar and you need to take a look at it. It's not Armored Core stupid level of customization, but it still is in early access. So it has some things they're going to add to it.
Dude, I'll take front mission levels of customization. Give me a chest, arms, and legs.
One of the developers of the game was kind enough to hop in while I was streaming, and we were bouncing feedback off of her, and she said Front Mission 3 specifically was the main source of inspiration for this game.
Okay, yeah. This is very, very exciting to me.
So you could definitely take a look at that on the old VODs if you want to go to Twitch TV/GamePoints and take a look at there. Also, another game that I played comes out later this week, Biomutant.
Quite a few people were playing that. Not me, but a bunch of people.
We can get deeper into it when we get to new releases, but I will say this. I have never had a game so tempt me with sleeping on stream before than Biomutant.
Dang.
I was actively dozing off when I was playing this game. That is how tedious and slow I find the combat to it.
What time were you playing the game? Just so we know.
In the afternoon.
Okay.
You can watch those VODs on there too, and you see me doing the kind of this thing where I'm like slowly nodding off and like waking up because the combat is very one note from what I've played. Now, I will fully say I'm only like 4 or 5 hours into it. But it's got two things working drastically against it as far as I'm concerned. And I'll get deeper detail on it later. But first of all, that combat, while it sounds like it should be fun, is way too loosey-goosey. It needs to be way more tighter to actually be worth what they're trying to go for. And two, everything in the game speaks like a Simish, where it's like... but it's all narrated by the same person. So, let me give you an example. You go up to a shopkeep, and the shopkeep will go, blah, 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 blah. And the narrator kicks in and goes, they're asking if you've had a good day. Like, they'll say it exactly like that. They won't repeat what they said. They will sum up what they said.
Interesting. Yeah, so you have a translator in your head that's telling you what's going on.
Yes, but it's not a direct translator. Imagine if it was someone standing off to your side rather than repeating back to you word for word what they said, just summing up what they're telling you.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
really, really jarring when it comes to the narrative.
Weird.
Because it just pulls you out every time. And the narrator's good at what he is doing, but
You just wish he wasn't doing it.
it is the same narrator for every single character, and they're all spoken in the exact same tone.
Oh, weird.
And those two things were the biggest like drawback. And he's a British guy, so naturally I just fall asleep whenever I hear British people.
That's weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Not a David Attenborough fan then?
No, that's part of the reason. You put his stuff up on when you go to bed and you fall asleep to him telling you about the triple-breasted kangaroo or something like that.
Okay, yeah, sure. I think I missed that episode.
It's out there. If you look long enough, just type in 3 breasts and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm not going to do that. I've seen Total Recall.
So those were 2 things I really played heavily last weekend. But yeah, Phantom Brigade specifically, I think you really, really need to take a look at. I think that's going to be right up your alley.
Cool.
But anyways, enough of what we've been playing. Let's see. Before I get into news, we have someone in chat saying, any thoughts on the new Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormground game being released by Focus Entertainment on PC and consoles this Thursday?
Man, let's just do new releases now. I think that game looks rad.
Yeah, same here, but I know nothing about it because it is Age of Sigmar, and I will fully admit I am a 40k guy. I know nothing about fantasy. I do want to take a look at this.
Age of Sigmar is legitimately fun. I've played it a handful of times. I've definitely played 40k more, but I like the universe. It's basically the reboot of the Warhammer Fantasy because they discontinued Fantasy in like 2015.
Oh yeah, my Tomb Kings have sat and untouched for almost 10 years at this point.
Sigmar came in, and now Sigmar is like the mainline fantasy game.
Okay.
And yeah, this is our first Sigmar-based video game for the Warhammer universe.
Yes, because Total War Warhammer is not Age of Sigmar, it's Old World. It's previous before the end of the world. This is one of those things that I do want to take a look at because I do love me some Games Workshop, but I just don't know anything about this one.
I think it looks good.
That's that. All right. Anyways, now let's go ahead and move on to the news. First up, this isn't so much a news story as much as it is a news story, kind of, but I want to focus more on the problem with hype.
Oh, we love bitching about hype.
Yes. Well, it's one of the... I feel like this message needs to get out more because one of the biggest problems I have with games today, specifically with like the press around them and people's reactions to it, is hype. People start getting extremely devoted to games based on hype alone without even seeing a trailer for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. You can be excited for it. I'm fine with that. But people get fanatical over this stuff. And you're already seeing the hype train. We saw what the hype train did to Cyberpunk, right?
Yes, we did.
Like, we all should have been more aware of that's coming. Because in retrospect, the warnings were written on the wall for that game for a year plus in advance. When they kept delaying
less respect, not to spoil anything, but we've kind of seen the same thing happen to Biomutant already. That game was hyped to oblivion somehow by people because I don't think the developer really did.
Yeah, and we need to kind of pull things back, and we're already starting to see the hype get out of control with a game, which understandably, if you were to hype up a game, it would be this one, because it's one of the biggest ones on the horizon right now, and that is Starfield.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about things we don't know about.
This led to a myriad of rumors over the past week, which were constantly contradicting themselves, and it's a problem. Let me go ahead and read the article that I brought up here from Twinfinite, and one of the greatest headlines I've seen in a while. Seems like Starfield is going to miss its made-up release date. Maybe. From Twinfinite. It started with an emphatic tweet from VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb claiming that Starfield is an Xbox and PC exclusive, period. We reported that on last week, I think. We were talking about that.
Yes, we did.
But that, of course, allowed Starfield to start trending on Twitter again, trending on YouTube again, and when that happens, everyone needs to make the video about it. I mean, we're doing the same and talking about it, and then you have people coming out of the woodwork with their own rumors, faked or confirmed, or just maybe they heard a friend for a friend say it. And this tweet opened up the floodgates for more people to either speculate or perhaps drop hints on what may have been confirmed to them about Starfield somehow, because a few days after Grubb's tweet, we would see this tweet from gaming YouTube streamer Luke Steven claiming that Starfield is, quote, pretty much done and will release later this year. Now, that has been...
Which is ridiculous.
I always thought that was a possibility, and I was open about saying I wouldn't be surprised if at this E3 we would get a date for later this year, and it would be like 4 or 5 months off, because Bethesda has done that in the past with both Doom Eternal and Skyrim. So this is not necessarily out of the norm.
Mm-hmm.
That rumor immediately gets debunked by a couple other others. Back to the article. However, a few writers have gone on record to challenge Stevens' claim and disrupt the idea that Starfield was released in 2021. Jason Schreier of Bloomberg, 3 days after Stevens' tweet, had this to say. Rumors like this keep floating around, but Starfield is nowhere near done, according to several people familiar with development. It'll be at E3, but the planned release date I've heard is way later than most people expect. Sharing this so folks keep their expectations in check, end quote. Furthermore, Liana Rupert of Game Informer would later back up Schreier by saying, quote, Starfield is not coming out this year, guys. That rumor is false, end quote. After these two people had something, David, I have seen other YouTubers and streamers who have a history of positive confirmations coming out saying it is going to be this year. So there is this
Everyone's making it up as they go.
Possibly. I don't know. But this has led to this weird influx of Starfield rumors everywhere. All for a game we haven't even officially seen anything of other
We haven't
than
seen
a logo.
Still image of Starfield. It's not fucking coming out this year.
There's some leaked stuff on there, but that's it.
It's just not going to happen.
And this is what I am worried about, David, is that the hype for a game that we don't even know what it's going to remotely play like is already...
We don't even know what kind of video game it is. That's the best part. People are excited because Bethesda is making a video game called Starfield. That is the most we know about the project.
Can we even confirm anywhere that Bethesda said this is going to be like...
Is it a first-person adventure game? Is it a fishing simulator? Who knows?
I would play an intergalactic fishing simulator, by the way.
I would too. Catching comets?
Little Prince style. So here's the thing. The reason why this story in all these rumors get so much traction on Twitter is because of how hungry the audience is for a game that they don't know anything about. And I get that. That in itself feels a need for consumption. But we all have to, please, for the love of God, take a step back and breathe and realize we don't even know what is going to be this. We don't know if it's first person. We don't know if it's third person. We don't know if it's more actiony or more RPG. Is it going to be Fallout in space? That seems to be what everyone's going over. Or is it going to be more like No Man's Sky?
Yeah, who knows?
We have some bare bones information, yes. But the hype when it comes to games, especially AAA releases that have no proof of concept yet, that are only shown behind closed doors, that only have little teaser trailers that don't even come close to matching video games, has been a problem for a decade plus now, if not farther back. And it's getting to the point where we are now setting ourselves up to be disappointed no matter what.
Yep. And the best part of this is we started this conversation talking about the overhyped Cyberpunk, which came out to a myriad of bugs and problems. And guess what that game reminded everybody of? Oh, that's right. Literally any Bethesda release.
Yes. Bethesda,
so please keep in mind that this is the company that sets the low standard for open world games that come out broken and buggy as hell. These are literally the guys. They're at the forefront of releasing shit games that get better later, mostly because of fan patches and mods, and eventually official support.
Right.
That's their wheelhouse.
This has been Bethesda's MO since, like, Morrowind.
Yeah, 100%. So I don't know why you would get so hype for a day one release of any Bethesda game. Did Fallout 76 teach you nothing?
Did Fallout 4 or New Vegas, where New Vegas wasn't Bethesda, but we all know how this style of game goes. I wanted to point this out, not to go after Schreier or Luke Steven or anyone, because honestly, they all might be telling the truth. Luke Steven's source might be someone that's like, yeah, I've heard it on good authority it'll be out this year, and that could have been 3 or 4 months ago. Schreier's source could have been someone that he met, that he got word from a week ago that said, oh no, we're fucked, it's delayed another year.
Yeah, who knows?
We don't know. So I'm not targeting any of the people releasing these rumors. They all could have been true at one time or another. What I am saying is the reason why there is this just frenzy of people coming out on this and why everyone was talking about it, us included, is because there is this voracious hunger for any information on this game. And
it's because we desperately need new video games. And a year off, more or less, doesn't help, right? Because we had nothing new come out last year. And so everyone's just like, please give me a video game that I can be excited about. Because we're at that time of year where normally, you know, as we're approaching E3, we're getting into everything, we have projects that we're looking forward to that are going to come out in the holidays, right? There's your big November blockbuster games that we all can't wait to see. And right now, no one has anything to look forward to in the video game space. I mean, yes, there are smaller projects and a few other things here and there, but by and large, it isn't this giant net of video games of something for everyone that we're all looking forward to. It's just, it's a ghost town. So I feel like everyone kind of clung on to Starfield because since it is such an open project and since we know so little about it, it's the potential video game. It could be whatever the fuck I want it to be because it's not anything yet. And so I can't wait for it because it's going to be this a magic thing in my mind, even though we all know that it won't ever cater to even half the people to play it.
It doesn't help also that we have, even when it comes to like the console specifically, we have yet to have that big next generation game even shown off that justifies the purposes of these. Horizon Zero Dawn is cross-gen, ruling that, or not Zero Dawn, Forbidden West is cross-gen, ruling that right out.
Yep.
God of War, we haven't seen anything on, and it might not even be solely PlayStation 5. There's rumor going around that's also PlayStation 4. Halo Infinite.
Next Halo, yeah, also cross-gen.
People showed it and were pissed from the way it looked. So
what are the odds that Starfield, which has been being developed for a while, was being developed for the old gen?
Who knows? I'm hoping it depends. That's another question too. When did Starfield actively go in active development? Was it before or after Microsoft bought Bethesda? Or rather, we know it was before Microsoft bought Bethesda. But when were they thinking of selling to Bethesda? Because Microsoft would have the cachet to go cancel the original Xbox the Xbox One version. This is Xbox. What's the current Xbox now?
Series X.
Series X. I can never get their name straight.
I know, it's a bad naming scheme.
Go 100% on next gen or current gen as it were now? Or are they going to try to straddle that line between the two?
Mm-hmm.
And how much development was put in previous generation will help determine that as well. If they were like 80% done, then you might see it on PS4 and Xbox One. If they were only 10% done, it's fully possible it could be a current gen system only. David, do you have anything you want to add to this topic before I address some questions in chat here and move on to the next news story?
No, I think I said my piece.
All right.
Basically, we're just beating an old drum here and saying try not to overhype games, but we also know that that's basically impossible. So at least try and keep your expectations in check.
Oh, this is just so I can say I told you so. That's solely why I'm doing this.
You didn't tell me so. I'm the one that keeps saying this game's coming out later than you think.
Not you. You. Let's take a look at chat. And by the way, for people curious, my throat is still shot. I'm drinking a lot of water, but allergies have me just fried when it comes to talking. So let's see. Stealthy Twisting chat says, what are yours and David's estimated release for Starfield? November 22, May 2023. I said I would not be surprised if it was 2021. I wouldn't be surprised if it was November 2021. Barring that, I would say early 2022 is the more likely date. I'd probably say April-ish, around there.
And I'm still saying 2023.
Okay.
Before the end of the fiscal year in 2023. So that gives me anywhere from January to what, April?
I think. It depends on how they run their fiscal year. Wilson's Corner in chat says Intergalactic Fishing is a game that exists. By the way, I'm going to have to take a look at that.
Please drop that in the Discord chat.
Yes, please.
We don't like to Google.
Also from chat, we already lost a year to COVID, and it's going to take another year just to recalibrate back to working office workflows that rapid, efficient, large games development projects demand. Yes. The development on this game, you can assume, was just completely paused for a year.
Yeah, or trickling, right?
We do have a question about the controversy we opted not to discuss last week. Cold enough to comment on this week, or is it still too toxic to disclose? It's not.
I would think it's not that it's toxic.
I just don't feel right about talking it here because this is.
We don't want to get dragged into the weeds on something like that because we're not educated enough to speak on the entire gravity of the situation.
Yeah, and what we are referring to, by the way, is the Israeli-Palestine conflict, specifically how IGN and a couple other sites kind of weighed in on it.
And specifically the fact that the editors of the IGN page took their donation page down and all of that fallout. Mm-hmm. So we can probably stay with the, we stand with the writers. They have the right to express their opinions on their editorial posts. So why are you guys hammering down on them? Fuck you guys, I guess. But other than that, I don't want to get...
Yeah, I don't want to wade into it either, because for me to give an accurate answer for how I feel about the entirety of the situation would require me to do the due diligence to have everything as correct as possible, because it's such a touchy thing. Yeah. And
we would need to...
I can't do it justice.
We would need to actually sit down and properly research and work together on a thing, which is something we rarely do.
No, we don't like to talk to each other at all.
Yeah, we wait from Tuesdays, whatever the hell today is.
So yeah, it is unlikely that we will dig any deeper into that topic beyond the surface level of. I think that editorial control is paramount, regardless of what you might think or not. But I do have some caveats to that I am not going to get into on the show, lest I actually go down that rabbit hole.
I think that'll cover that though. Can I take the next one? Because I'm
by all means. That's why it's second, and I wanted to let you have this because I know you love this news.
So we have a lot to talk about this week, but this I think is the only thing that really matters to me. In a story from IGN, David's hopes and dreams have been fulfilled. Sorry, that's not the title of the article. Timesplitters studio Free Radical reforms to make a new entry at last. This is so damn exciting. From the article, Timesplitters is finally returning for real, courtesy of publisher Deep Silver and a number of the original developers. Deep Silver announced on Thursday that a number of key original members of Free Radical Design have joined together to reform the studio under the same name, including founders Steve Ellis and David Doak. The studio will serve as a subsidiary of Deep Silver. In a quote from Ellis, to finally be able to confirm that the studio has been formed and that we have a plan for the next Timesplitters game is incredible. Ellis is serving as the studio development director. While we cannot tell you anything more at the moment, we look forward to sharing information in the future. Develop is not expected to begin on the new Timesplitters for a few months, with the team expecting to spend some time first building out its studio in Nottingham. I'm super excited about this. I've been excited ever since THQ Nordic bought all of the Timesplitters franchises. When they were on there buying every single license from your childhood that they can think of, it gave me hope that I would get another new Timesplitters game, and it seems like my wish is being granted.
So. No, I'm jazzed for this. I'm glad to see this happen. It gives me hope that I might get another Red Faction Guerrilla 2. Not Red Faction Armageddon. That sucked. I specifically want Guerrilla 2. Because I consider that the same level of development of game. Red Faction and Timesplitters kind of fall into the same high B, low, single A, triple B development.
Yep.
To me.
Yeah, I loved Timesplitters 2. I loved Future Perfect. Those games are just super fun.
Future Perfect's the one I ever played, but God, that's the one where toward the end you start making the time loop and you're fighting with like 4 versions of yourself, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was an amazing use of time travel as a mechanic. It
Such
was
a
so
good game. Super funny. I loved the multiplayer. This is a game that we would run around and play on like the multi-tap to do versus back in the day. Good game.
Really looking forward to what they can see doing that. While on the topic of THQ Nordic and overall Embracer Group, I'm going to go ahead and move on to this story here from VentureBeat. Embracer sells 6.8 million copies of Valheim and has 160 games in development.
Okay, so reminder that Embracer Group is who owns THQ Nordic, and THQ Nordic owns everybody from your childhood. So yeah, they have a lot of projects in the air. But most excitingly, dude, this like 12-person team, right? That made Valheim, or 7-person team.
Oh yeah, go them.
I think it's a single digit.
Get paid.
It's so fun too.
The Viking Sandbox World game, Valheim, gave a big boost to Embracer Group by selling 6.8 million copies since February, and Embracer Group announced with its fourth fiscal quarter that it now has 160 games in development. That's really the only important part you need to take away from the article. If you wanted to see like how much money it's been bringing in and what each studio is costing, like that, take a look at the article. The link will be provided down below. But I just specifically wanted to point out, one, Valheim, which you have been playing a lot of, doing very well. Surprisingly well, because I don't even know how this game suddenly burst onto the scene. It just did one day.
Dude, I've been spending most of the last 2 days building a castle on a mountain. That game's great.
And Embracer Group, who last I heard had like 80 games in development, now has 160 goddamn games in development.
Now, keep in mind that this isn't all AAA. This is the entire gamut.
Yes.
Everything. Single A, probably AAA, B, C, D, mobile, whatever you want, I'm assuming is all falling under this umbrella.
I appreciate mobile coming in after D. we know where that category of game lies.
What are you gonna do?
I am still so worried that Embracer is going to run into the Krispy Kreme dilemma. You know what I mean when I say Krispy Kreme dilemma?
Too much, too fast.
Yeah, Krispy Kreme was a donut shop in America that had a lot of success very quickly, and so they went, we're building Krispy Kremes everywhere. They're going to be on...
Like it's Starbucks.
Yeah, they're going to be on every corner, all over the place. And they did, and they invested a lot of money in it. And then suddenly everyone kind of went, Krispy Kreme's fine, but...
Turns out I don't love donuts that much. I don't need to go here every single day.
Yeah, and they essentially got wiped out. They became a victim of their own success, and they had to close even more stores than they started with.
Yep.
I am terrified this is what's going to happen to Embracer. And with 160 games in development, I know they have their hands in a lot of pies. They straight up own so many studios. We've talked about it nonstop for years. But 160 games in development. To give you an idea of size, I think Embracer Group as a whole has just shy of 7,000 employees. I think. I'm not positive. I need to double check my math on that. To give you an idea of how insane 160 games is, EA itself, which produces a handful of games every year, has like 7,000. Has just as, or 6,000, has just as many.
Well, that's why I said the scale of the games being released is something that we definitely need to consider. I'm assuming that of the 160 games, maybe 10 of them, maybe 5 of them are big, giant projects, and the rest are much, much smaller.
Yeah, I don't expect something like Jedi Fallen Order to be coming out of Embracer or an Apex Legends to be coming out of Embracer.
You never know.
Or
Valheim sold 7 million copies.
Or a Battlefront or Battlefield from Embracer. But god damn, that just it from the outside looking in, they could have this stuff dialed in, but from the outside looking in, it looks like they are overreaching significantly.
Yeah. Like it's a very, very tall house of cards and you're super nervous.
And remember, one of my predictions from this year is I expect a massive publisher to kind of go through financial straits that forces them to sell off IP. And I was thinking specifically of Embracer when I saw this, when I made that prediction. So this, I never want to see failure, but goddamn, I really, really nervous about Embracer. But hey, with any luck, they pull this off.
Yep. Speaking of things being pulled off, in a story from Video Games Chronicle, CD Projekt Red says it's still waiting for Sony's approval to bring Cyberpunk back to the PlayStation Store. From the article, during a shareholder meeting on Tuesday, CD Projekt management was asked to provide an update on the progress of its discussions with Sony and when these talks might conclude. The topic was not on the agenda for the meeting, but President and Joint CEO Adam Kaczynski chose to answer the question. Unfortunately, I have no new information in this regard, he said through a translator. We are still in discussions, and with every patch, the game gets better and there's visible progress. But as we said, the decision is an exclusive decision of Sony, so we're waiting for the information about the fact that they took the decision to bring back this game. Until then, I'm not able to tell you anything more. For anyone who's not been paying attention, yes, Cyberpunk lasted for, 2 weeks on the PlayStation Store before they pulled it because of all the refunds and all the shenanigans that were involved in that game.
Keep in mind, it still wasn't the fact that it was busted on PlayStation that caused Sony to pull it. It was the fact that, allegedly.
I thought it was the refunds mostly.
It was the refunds that they said, go back to Sony and they'll give you a refund on it for it.
Yep, because they had that whole press release saying, hey, you can refund the game if you don't like it. And they said, okay, how would we get it? Oh, well, ask the person you bought it from. And Sony said, what the fuck do you mean we have to give all these people their money back?
Yeah, how dare you put us in this position? Which, at the end of the day, that is why this game still isn't back on there. It's not so much that the game isn't running smoothly or anything like that. And I don't know what it is. I've tuned out of Cyberpunk's development now, and I won't even look at it again for another year. But it has been 5 months since that game got yanked off, or longer maybe, since that game got yanked off PlayStation Network, and I can guarantee you, admittedly this is speculation, but I'm willing to bet that the main reason why it's not back on PlayStation stores yet is because of the shit CD Projekt Red when they said you can get refunds from Sony.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're going to have some kind of caveat, or who knows. Anyway, back to the article, asked about the same situation back in March, which was 3.5 months after the title was delisted. CD Projekt's SVP of Business Development, Michael Novowaski, also said the decision ultimately lies with Sony. We do believe we're closer than further, but of course the final call is there, so let's wait and see. Which was, another 2 months ago.
I forgot this was actually a thing, by the way. That's why I wanted to mention it, because I completely forgot.
It's still not on the PlayStation Store. You still cannot buy Cyberpunk on PlayStation digitally. You can only buy it if you buy the physical disc, because don't forget that Sony also doesn't allow you to buy digital games anywhere besides their own store. Remember, we talked about the fact that their games.
I do remember that. Yes, I do remember that.
I like bringing up old stories.
This is one of those things where it's still fascinating to watch unfold. For some reason, my brain thought they started selling it on PlayStation again, and it never did. And I can't think of any single game that got deliberately pulled from the PlayStation, not because of some emergency patch and slap back up there, but this has been taken down for months. And that is a massive install base that CD Projekt Red has no access to right now, other than selling physical copies, I guess. But digital makes up 50 to 60% of sales these days, if not more, I believe.
Well, in the physical copies, you can get for $20 half the time.
Yeah, exactly. This is... I don't want to beat this dead horse any longer than we have to, but it is still just shocking to me that going on 5 to 6 months into this game's launch, and they still don't fucking have it in a position that Sony is willing to put it back on there. At this point, too, I'm willing to bet that even if they have it completely fine-tuned and running 1%, I doubt Sony's ever going to let this game back on. I think Sony's just like, no, we don't need to do business with this anymore. We're not going to make any money from this because of the reputation it has, and you screwed us so hard that we just don't want to do business with you.
I can see them waiting long enough and then putting the PS5 version up.
Maybe only having the PlayStation 5 version go live.
Yeah, because I doubt the PS4 version is ever going to be in a great place. I mean, if you think the base PS4, I don't think they're ever going to get that engine running well there.
We've gone off on making games cross-gen in the past, and I still think one of the biggest problems that Cyberpunk had is that they designed it for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which are consoles that were clearly not able to handle it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem that they have.
Mm-hmm.
David, let's move on to the next story here. You might actually be excited for this one. I don't know. I'm kind of curious to know what your opinion on this is.
All right.
Via IGN, Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown is a PlayStation 4 exclusive remake, and it's coming next week.
Yes, it is.
Virtua Fighter is getting a brand new remake, making a return to the spotlight for the classic fighting game series after a decade-long absence. While it's not quite a shadow drop, it'll nevertheless be out very soon. Sega announced today that Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown will be a PlayStation 4 console exclusive, and it'll include updated graphics built in a brand new engine as well as all new online features, with development being led by an all-star team from Sega AM2 and Ryuga Gotoku Studio. It is being developed as part of Sega's 60th anniversary project. While fundamentally the gameplay and the combat remain the same, the graphics are being rebuilt from scratch using RGG's Dragon Engine technology, a Sega spokesperson says.
Which is the engine that powers the new Yakuza games, if you're wondering.
Oh, that would be right. It's the Dragon Engine then. It'll include new background music for every single stage, a new user interface, a new opening cinematic, and new lighting and shaders. In addition to updated graphics and background music, it will allow players to spectate online matches in real time, and will also include the ability to build round-robin style online tournaments. The private and public lobby system will support up to 16 players and will include new communication tools like stamps. David, what is your
most
opinion
importantly, something that you don't have in your article, it's got rollback, everybody. This, I think, is a pretty cool idea because Virtua Fighter is a series that hasn't really had any love in quite a while, and it seems smart to me to re-release the fifth one in a new engine, trying to get people interested, than spending all of the money developing Virtua Fighter 6 to no fanfare. So I feel like this is them just testing the waters to see if there's still interest in Virtua Fighter as a franchise.
Okay.
And yeah, it'll be cool to see. I was never a huge Virtua Fighter guy. I've probably played every other one, so I don't think I've played one since 4, honestly. So, I mean, I'm sure I'll get a few matches in here or there, but I like seeing it, man. I don't like fighting games dying, so bring it on. Yeah, everybody come back.
I didn't know it's been a decade since there was any movement on the Virtua Fighter IP.
Yeah, dude, give me some more old fighting games. Where's my new Bloody Roar at? Let's go.
How about I can't remember what's called. Never mind.
Okay.
I was about to make some comment, and damn.
You want another guys? You want another Mark of the Wolves? Because I do too.
I was thinking shittier, like Time Killers or something like that.
Oh. You want another Clay Fighter?
I would appreciate hearing some Clay Fighter. Clay
Want
Fighter.
to get a sequel to guys?
What was it? God Bless the Ring?
Yeah.
No, I don't want a sequel to guys, but I do want. If you want to talk about Forgotten Square franchises, I do want a sequel to Iron Handler. And there's no reason why.
What's funny is I can't say one without thinking of the other. I'm incapable.
They came out almost back to back, I believe, and they both came out when Square was doing the white background with like an image on the PlayStation cover. So everything in that genre is kind of seared into my head.
Yeah.
I wish they kind of kept that. By the way, I really liked the way those cases looked.
They were real nice.
Covers. David.
Anyway, Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown, PS4. Very exciting. Comes out in a week.
Here's something else that you might be excited for because it mentions your favorite thing. So go ahead and take us off on this story here.
And I don't know where this is from. WCCF Tech? Is that how you say that?
Yep.
All right, that's where this is from. PS5 exclusive Final Fantasy is in the works by Team Ninja. Rumor. That's the article title. The rumored PS5 exclusive Final Fantasy game that is supposedly getting revealed next month is currently in development by Team Ninja, according to rumors circulating online. French leaker Souls Hunt, who did provide correct information in the past, revealed a new video that is this yet to be announced game and currently in development by Team Ninja that is heavily inspired by From Software's Souls series. The leaker compares the upcoming game to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which is also somewhat inspired by the Souls series. Souls Hunt believes this new Final Fantasy game will be announced during this E3, as another well-known insider revealed a few days ago, and that a playable demo will be released this summer to gather feedback. Lastly, this new Final Fantasy is going to be a PS5 exclusive, but Souls Hunt speculates it'll only be temporarily exclusive like it was for Neo, so it'll make its way into other platforms at some point. Navtra, who originally talked about the PS5 exclusive Final Fantasy game to be announced next month, confirmed that the upcoming game is indeed inspired by the Souls series, but is not exactly a Souls-like, which is the most aggravating fucking sentence I've ever had to read out loud. It's tricky. It's certainly Souls-inspired, but it's not exactly what you'd imagine when you hear Souls-like Final Fantasy.
David, I brought this specific article up because this ties back into our first story about people trying to cash in on hype, and in this case, abusing SOE. I guarantee you, this game is going to play nothing like a Souls game. Let me rephrase that.
Fuck all.
Like the majority of this game is not going to be a Souls game. This, at best, will be close to Jedi Fallen Order, which is only a Souls game in passing, and the only reason why I fucking call it a Souls game is because people in the fucking games media love to use the term Souls-like because it hits SOE.
Anything that has weighted combat is now a Souls-like.
No.
Irrespective of everything else that makes something actually akin to a Dark Souls or a Souls game. Nope, if it's got weighted combat, it's a Souls-like. If I hear another motherfucker call Monster Hunter a Souls clone, I'm going to beat the shit out of them in public. I'm so mad. Why is everything a Souls-like?
What this new Final Fantasy game would be, if it's being made by Team Ninja, so that makes you think Ninja Gaiden, of course.
I bet it's got a stamina meter. I bet that's why it's like a Dark Souls game.
Yes, it's got a stamina meter. It's got a stamina meter and may or may not have one of the two following. If you die, you can go back and get your experience, and or a world that folds back into itself as you keep opening doors. And that will be the extent of its similarities to a Souls game. Furthermore, I get the feeling, considering this is being made by Team Ninja, this is going to feel more like a Devil May Cry than a Souls game.
Yeah, probably.
Assuming it even comes out. This is all rumor. And this wouldn't be the first time, though, Sony's tried to outsource Final Fantasy to other people. If you remember, there was the codename Fortress being made by Grin. There was, oh my god, what's the one I'm thinking of? Never mind. I can't think of the other example I was going to use.
Dirge of Cerberus.
Was Dirge of Cerberus out? I thought that was done by one of the Square development teams.
I have no idea. I just said the name of a Final Fantasy game I could think of.
All right. But this Team Ninja thing that's being worked on right now, I wouldn't be surprised if it is this Final Fantasy game. It is action-based, because that is what Team Ninja does. But to claim that it is Souls game, the Souls-like, the main reason why I wanted to go to this article specifically is because I'm using this as the example that I see from a bunch of other sites trying to cash in on this, and I am telling you right now, this game will have at most to be closer to Fallen Order. Stop using the term Souls-like.
It's going to be
better goddamn
an action Final Fantasy game.
You know
like
what
Dirge of Cerberus.
You know what really bothers me? Yeah. What really bothers me is I have no problem with the term Metroidvania. Because Metroidvania has a very clear set of rules it follows for the most part.
So and that's the thing that pisses me off about when people call games a Souls-like, is that Souls-likes do have a specific set of rules, but people apparently just ignore those and call anything, like I said, with weighted combat, a stamina bar, a Souls-like game.
Or anything hard.
Or anything difficult, yeah. If it's hard, if you die a lot, it's a Souls-like. Every roguelike game's a Souls-like, because you die sometimes.
Wilson's Corner in chat mentions that this might be a grown-up Zelda, like, say, Darksiders, along those lines. You know, I liked the idea of Darksiders. I appreciate what they tried to do with it. I don't know if this is going to be like that or not. I couldn't tell you. I don't even have the first idea. Excuse me. The first idea of what this game would be. But I can tell you right now, it's not going to be a Souls game. It's just not. The people who are saying the rumors are even warning them off of that, but the articles are being written saying that it is. I mean, look at this. One quote says, "It's tricky, it's certainly Souls-inspired, but not exactly what you would imagine." The other rumor straight up says right here, it doesn't say it's a Souls-like, it says it's inspired by Jedi Fallen Order. It compares it to Jedi Fallen Order. They're not even saying Dark Souls. They're warning you off of that. But the articles are being written saying this is going to be a Souls-like game, because it's not just WCCF tech.
They're trying to simultaneously piss off both Souls fans and Final Fantasy fans.
This is the hype problem.
Yeah, it's just another one of those things. Anyway, I'm excited to see another action-based Final Fantasy game. I'll give them that. That sounds fun. I like Team Ninja.
I'm into that.
I think they do cool projects.
I'd like to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a Souls-like.
No, absolutely not. David, I have one more story that I want to get into before we get into their segment of the show.
The only thing that could make me more angry than a Final Fantasy Souls-like is the next thing.
Via GMEDD, that stands for Games. That's the stock ticker for GameStop Deep Discussion. Headline: GameStop unveils official NFT project. Full disclaimer going into this topic. While I do fuck with crypto and I like Ethereum quite a bit, I still cannot wrap my head around what an NFT is beyond the most basic sense of it. So I am going to plead
It's weaponized
ignorance.
idiocy.
I'm going to plead ignorance on most of this topic, especially when I come to possible speculation of what this might lead to. To the article. Found due to internet sleuths, NFT.GameStop.com unveils what will become a GameStop's venture into the rapidly growing crypto and non-fungible token space. This website, although minimal, asks for those interested in working on the project to reach out. GameStop looks to be working with Ethereum's chain for this project, judging by the use of the Ethereum logo. Within the source code on line 936 is the launch date of the GameStop token revealed in Unicode 1626261600. This indicates that the GameStop token has a public launch of July 14th, 2021 at 4:20 on Pacific Standard Time. Etherscan.io also reveals that the first GameStop token was minted at 28 minutes after Ryan Cohen's American Dad gift tweet last night, and it cost 420.69 ETH. Rather, 0.42069 ETH. Hidden at the top right of the red page is a dead pixel that links to a game reminiscent of the dinosaur jumping game from Google Chrome, but this time it's a banana, a cat in a banana. This is a nod to Roaring Kitty and the ape movement. Google that if you don't know what that is. In the game, the further you progress, the closer you arrive to a moon in the sky. David, this, from what I understand, actually is legitimately from GameStop. Ryan Cohen's a bit of an internet troll. The 420 references, the 69 references, the to the moon, the diamond handing, the roaring kitty. All this matches his MO because he is very aware of the Wall Street Bets crowd and their influence upon GameStop's stock. That said, it feels almost too silly to be a business venture, especially when you have addresses that are like Ethereum addresses that are like 0x 42069. It launches at 420 Pacific. It almost feels like a joke. But GameStop has leaned heavily into the meme culture over the past month because of the Wall Street's Bets crowd. They know what audience they're playing to. Now, as far as what this NFT project could be, what do you think it is before I give you what I think it might be? And I could be completely wrong in my understanding on how NFT works. So what I'm going to say could just be not even possible. So, David, you tell us first.
Fuck NFTs. Fuck the concept of NFTs. Fuck anybody that's producing an NFT. Fuck the entirety of NFT culture. I'm done.
All right. What I think this might be, and I could be wrong. I fully admit my ignorance on what an NFT is, but I have heard this being tossed around, and I thought it was an interesting prospect. This might be a way that that GameStop will be able to buy and sell used digital video games.
No.
Okay. No, because you don't believe it, or no, because you know that's not possible?
No, because owning an NFT doesn't actually confer ownership of any physical thing onto you.
Yes, but we're not talking physical thing. We're talking digital rights.
You still wouldn't own the game.
You don't own the game to begin with. You're just transferring the license. This could be a way for them to transfer the license.
I'm still just going to go with no.
Okay. I don't have any strong feelings on this one.
Based on my understanding of how NFT works, which admittedly could be hazy, I'm going to go with no.
Okay.
I don't believe that that's going to work the way you assume it's going to work.
Okay. I just don't know. That is something I was thinking about. I was asking around,
because
trying
owning
to get
an
an
NFT is basically just owning a receipt to a thing. So unless they're going to have you punch in your receipt somewhere so that you could get a download code separately.
Yeah, they do that already.
If you physically punch in your code, then you're giving up your code. It's just, I don't think it works that way.
I mean, we already have something like that to begin with. When a game developer prints out keys to give out to stores.
I understand how that works, but when you start throwing it into the NFT space, it's I don't know, man. Fuck NFTs.
You know what this also could be too?
I didn't want to talk about it in the first place.
You know what this also could be too? Is that Ryan Cohen? He's one of the new. We've talked about him a couple times in the past on this.
Chewy guy.
He is very hip to the internet crowd. He knows how to drive hype. What he could be doing is announcing this deliberately without any extra details because it's good for stock. And god damn it, if you don't look at GME today, and it shot up like I think 17%.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because right now, NFTs are the hot thing in commerce right now. And everyone wants on the ground floor of it, and not a single goddamn person can tell me what it is in a sentence or less. At least with, like, for example, I do, like, with Ethereum and Bitcoin, people can at least explain that to me what that is within a reasonable, like, they could talk to me like I'm a child and explain it to me. No one can do that yet with NFTs yet, because I don't think most people who are pushing this shit even really know what it is.
Okay, so imagine you go to the Louvre, right?
Yeah.
And you're looking at the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
And this guy walks up to you. He
Uh-huh.
says, "You like that picture? You want to buy it?" You're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll sell it to you, $100." You're like, "Okay, yeah, sure, fuck it. I'll give you $100 for that." All right, cool. Here's a digital receipt for the thing that you just bought. You're like, "Oh, sweet. Okay, so can I take the Mona Lisa home now?" No, it has to stay in the Louvre. What the fuck are you talking about? Then what do I have? You have this digital receipt that says that you own it now. You don't own any physical property, and you can't do anything with it.
This
But
reminds me of
and by the way, the guy that sold it to you doesn't actually own the Mona Lisa.
This reminds me of the, like, name a star movement or name an asteroid thing, where you send in $50 and they name an asteroid after you, and you get to own that asteroid, but you don't really actually own anything. This is what this all reminds me of, and I could be wrong on that. But I will once again fully admit my ignorance on this. We have some comments in chat. I want to take a look at it. Let's see. The only game-related opportunity NFTs I can think of may serve as unique unlocks to cosmetics. We already have codes for that, though. We already have GameStop already sells the game codes for that. I don't see how this could be different than that at all.
Well, by unique, think of like a single use. So not everybody can buy it.
Yeah,
one
well,
person
then you just
could have
print. I guess maybe. Wilson's Corner Chat is saying, from my understanding, that's not how NFTs work. However, since NFT uses blockchain tech, you could, in theory, use it to make digital games licenses that can be transferred consumer to consumer. But it might require a lot on infrastructure to create another online storefront. So I don't know if GameStop will throw that much money at it. That's kind of what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking they're going with, is that they're going to create something from the ground up, because that's what Ryan Cohen does. That's his whole MO, is he comes in, builds something, and leaves.
I dislike this because it is moving you even further away from owning a thing. Yes, we've talked about it at length that you don't own any digital games that you buy. This is you buying the digital game from a reseller, basically. Like it's even less of you getting it from a source. And
to counter that argument, though, if that, let's assume it is the buying and selling of video games.
Sure, we'll just pencil it down as that's how it works.
If you're concerned that it's moving you further away from it because you're buying the license, you're buying a license to the license, it sounds like that's what you're concerned about here.
Yes.
Doesn't this, though, also open up the ability to start trading the licenses between you and other people, or you and the store, thus giving you a greater use out of the license you currently already have?
Yeah, but I don't think you can transfer it because you don't have direct access to it.
That might be what this is solving. And I hate talking in all these theoreticals because we just don't know what the hell this is. This could, at the end of the day, be a giant fucking cat on the moon. And that's all they're selling.
It could literally be an NFT of the GameStop logo that someone's going to spend money on.
Yeah, we don't know. And that's the problem. But I will say that I think if your concern is it moves us farther away from the ownership, I will push back on that, say it moves us closer to ownership, because now we can actually transfer something that we own, in quotation marks, digitally, to someone else and get some kind of financial reward for that.
I just don't think it'll be transferable.
I don't know. We'll see. I have no idea. I have no idea what this could be. I am just spitballing ideas and hypotheticals. I'm a moron when it comes to NFT specifically. Anyways, it's. I personally think the possibility of it's there, but I can't say for certain. But that does it for the news. If you have an idea of what this could be and actually know what an NFT does that could benefit GameStop, please let me know either in the comments down below or over at a Discord group link provided down at the bottom. David.
And if you're sending us to a Reddit thread, we're not going to read it.
Yeah, I want an actual authority, not a Reddit thread. We have one delay I want to mention up, and this one actually I think hurts us both. Axiom Verge 2 has been delayed one more time to Q3 2021. That sucks, but it is literally being made by like one man, so he could take as much time as he wants on it.
Like we said it last time, one guy, he can take as much time as he wants.
That said, goddamn do I want to play this, because Axiom Verge is still one of the greatest Metroidvanias of all time. I would put it up there with the original Metroid. It is that good. We also have a whole bunch of upcoming events this week. The time of E3 is here. It is only a few weeks away. You're going to have a whole bunch of video game news coming out. So naturally, you have people going, fuck that. We're going to announce our stuff a little bit earlier to get get ahead of the tsunami of information. And we have 4 events, 4 happening this week, all on Thursday for some reason.
I don't know why Thursday.
First up, we have the Dark Pictures House of Ashes world premiere gameplay event happening this Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I love the Dark Pictures games. I thought Man of Medan was great. I thought that the most recent one, I can't remember what it's called, Little Hope, was not as good, but still good.
Yeah.
And Until Dawn, of course, one of the better examples of a Quantic Dream game that wasn't made by Quantic Dream. So looking forward to House of Ashes. I really like that anthology. Sonic has something going on. Tune in 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time at Thursday for a first look at some of the projects, partnerships, and events for our Sonic 30th celebration. So there's some Sonic shit going down this Thursday.
Classic.
You have the team at Techland who's making Dying Light 2, finally dropping some more info May 27th at 12 p.m. And of course, you have the Horizon Forbidden West State of Play May 27th at 2 p.m. They're going to be showing off 15 minutes of gameplay and then 5 minutes of some other stuff. I'd expect a release date during this.
I will as well, and that is the one I'm excited for, because I'm really excited for the next Horizon game, because the first one was so damn good.
What I appreciate specifically about the State of Play, but all of these to some degree or not, is that these companies are learning their lessons when it comes to these like State of Plays, directs, presentations.
They're telling you exactly what you're getting.
Yes, here is this in here, 100%. This is what we have.
Yeah.
Do not expect
tune in on Thursday for a surprise, so that everybody can get hyped out of their mind of some thing that they think it's going to be. No, you're going to see Horizon.
Yes.
If you don't want to see Horizon, don't watch it, because you're only going to see Horizon.
That said, I am guessing that they are going to show a release date, but I don't consider that to be too hypey one way or another. Yeah. But don't expect any God of War, for example, on this State of Play. You know exactly what you're getting, and I love to see more and more studios and companies coming out going, hey, this is what it is. Set your expectations accordingly. David?
Yes.
All of that, however, is 48 hours away.
At least.
Being a grown-ass man in his 40s, I can't be expected to keep myself occupied by just watching TV for 2 days straight. I need something to play. Because I have the attention span of an ant on Ritalin. Actually, so I think Ritalin would... I was going to say, I think Ritalin would actually... I think I gave the exact opposite of what I should have said. Yeah. Regardless of that, though, what can I play in the meantime between now and then?
Well, the first thing you can play is something you've already played, and it's out on PS4, Xbox, and PC.
Now do you see my struggle? I've already played most of what you're about to say.
I know.
The struggle is real.
Biomutant, for those that don't know, is the open-world post-apocalyptic kung fu fable RPG that's been published by THQ Nordic, but is actually being developed by like a 20-person team.
It's called like Experimental Branch 101 or something like that. It's a bunch of people who were with Avalanche.
Yep. It's got a unique martial arts style combat system allowing you to mix melee shooting and mutant ability action. You customize your marsupial. I'm not quite sure what you are in Biomutant.
Marsupial's a good word for it.
Right?
It's some kind of rodent.
Here's something. You're a little fuzzy dude, and you go on little fuzzy dude adventures, and you murder the countryside in a basically open world action RPG. And the biggest issues I'm hearing about this game is that it's $60.
Yes.
A lot of people expect a lot from this game because, as we mentioned at the top of the show, hype is killing our industry because people get way too excited about things. But, it was made by 20 people, so you get what you get. If you don't want to pay $60 for a 20-person game, then maybe wait a little while.
This game is infuriating, David, because I want it to be so much better than it is. It is aggressively a meh game. And it's
See, and
annoying because...
I played this game at PAX back when those still existed. And I thought it was fun. I was like, oh, okay, this has kind of got a unique thing going. It's a little neat. But I'm sad to hear that that doesn't last for a long time. But I'm wondering if you can get past the hump and if you get more stuff later. But I honestly have no idea because I haven't played it.
There's nothing in this game that is broken. The game runs fine. It is a competently built game. But the combat is too loosey-goosey, is the phrase I like to use, to be any good. It needs to be way tighter than it is for it to be focused on all the moves that you can learn. You can learn all kinds of cool moves, and then if you chain a couple of them together, you end up going into like the Super Saiyan mode. But at the end of the day, what you end up doing. What I found myself doing was doing the same 3 easiest move combos as possible to get that Super Saiyan attack up. And that Super Saiyan mode is literally just press X or press Y, depending on what you want to do at the time.
So it's a Dynasty Warriors game where you're just trying to get your Muso all the time.
Yeah, but it's not as flashy as a Dynasty Warriors game, so you don't get to see all the people flying everywhere. Do you see where the problem comes in? Biomutant has a lot of systems that are put on top of it, and none of them are really fleshed out. I kind of wish they would have cut half the systems and put that time onto other stuff. The world, for example, looks really gorgeous. I love the weird Asian aesthetic. It has like this kung fu story feel to it. The cities are very cool looking and very, very empty. To where I was exploring around a city thinking, I'm going to find something here, and I spent like 10, 15 minutes going through all these doors and stuff like that, and there was just nothing. There were no people to talk to. There were no chests to find. It was just big for the sake of being big. Big and barren. So it's a lot of stuff like that. And that's my biggest problem with Biomutant. I will say I've only played about 5 hours into it. Maybe it gets better as it goes on, but I think I'm putting this one down. I have other things I can keep myself occupied with.
Well, more things you can keep yourself occupied with. How about King of Seas for PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC? This is the naval combat action RPG being put out by Team 17, an action role-playing game set in a procedural pirate world. An epic adventure awaits you in a fantastic world dotted with fights, lost islands, and treasures. A universe that will keep you anchored as you struggle to become the king of all pirates. So, if that didn't make any sense, it's Pirate Ship Diablo. How about that? Does that work for you?
That actually does sound kind of cool.
All right. Looks pretty fun, actually. So take a look. King of Seas. Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster. I mentioned last week because someone on the show is bad at dates, and it's actually coming out this week, not last week.
Incorrect.
PS4, Switch, PC. What?
I figured out what the problem was.
Did it come out both and one was Xbox?
No, they did that fucking thing that we hate where it's like if you buy the digital deluxe version, it comes out on Friday, meaning the actual release date was Friday.
So this is not a new release.
Yeah.
This game came out last week, but you have to pay a premium to play it.
Yes.
Which is a bullshit practice, and fuck these guys. So
that's why it looked confusing.
Also out this week, Capcom Arcade Stadium hits PS4, Xbox One, and PC, which is funny because this game actually came out on Switch first. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Something on Switch getting everywhere else. Relive the Capcom Arcade Classics. Keep in mind that if you get Capcom Arcade Stadium, which is a free download, you will get 1943 The Battle of Bimdoi. That is the only thing you will get, along with some wallpapers. Each other game that you want to add to your Stadium collection is $2 each. This is a Capcom Arcade emulator, more or less, that you're downloading for free, but it's got a lot of the Capcom classics. Ghosts and Goblins, Street Fighter 2, Bionic Commando, Strider. There is a whole huge list, and you can buy them piecemeal, whatever the hell you want. It's $2 each. Take a look if you're interested. Or if you just want to play 1943, you can
I'd say $1 each. That'd be fine.
But right, so wait for 50% off sale. Saints Row the Third Remastered. PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. This is the now upscaled version of Saints Row the Third. Can't be more excited. Love this game. Think this game's great. We talked about it coming out again, a week ago.
Different take.
But now the upscaled, PS5 and new Series Xbox One is out. If you've never played Saints Row, you should play the third because it's great. It's got a really good soundtrack, really funny story, and it's just batshit crazy, honestly. The Wraith Oblivion Afterlife hits PC. This is a VR survival horror game, which has more of an emphasis on stealth because things like to kill you. You died in a mysterious seance and have become a wraith, one of the restless undead. Did you ever watch the movie Wraith, bro?
With Charlie Sheen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course I watched Wraith.
Right, such a great movie. In this VR horror game, use your supernatural abilities to solve the mystery behind your own death, but beware of the sinister specters lurking in the shadows. This is a VR first-person, spooky as shit video game that you can take a look at if you've got yourself a VR headset. Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormground hits the PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. This is the turn-based strategy set in the Age of Sigmar dark fantasy universe. So if you weren't here at the top of the show, this is Warhammer-based. This is not the old version of fantasy. This is the new version of fantasy that took over the old version of fantasy in like 2016 or whenever the hell I said at the top of the show. Lead your highly customizable force, unlock new units, equipment, and skills in this dynamic turn-based game packed with fast-paced warfare.
This reminds me a little bit of Mechanicus. I looked at it real quick afterwards. There was a 40K game that was a turn-based strategy that was kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics-ish, and it was called Mechanicus, where it was you as Adeptus Mechanicus versus Necrons.
Yep.
This looks a little bit like that.
Fair. It's also $40, so take a look. Earth Defense Force World Brothers, I think, is the Earth Defense Force game that you're not going to play. PS4, Switch, PC. Third-person shooter, action game, a new EDF adventure begins. Only this time the action unfolds in a parallel world where the Earth is made of digital blocks. Yes, that's right, my friends. This is the voxel-based Earth Defense Force for some fucking reason.
Unnecessary. 100%.
If you ever wanted to play Earth Defense Force that looks kind of like Minecraft, this is the one for you. If you haven't, it's not. Also out this week, SRX The Game hits PS4, Xbox, and PC. SRX is a racing series, and it's basically NASCAR, but on short ovals, and it's half and half dirt and asphalt. If you've never heard of it, you're probably not going to play this video game. But if you have heard of it, congratulations. This is the first SRX video game to be released. So, there you go.
As someone who isn't a racing guy, the idea of racing on a track that goes back and forth between dirt and asphalt seems kind of wild.
I mean, that's how rally's done.
I didn't know that.
A lot of times.
Okay.
They change from gravel to dirt to tarmac to all kinds of stuff.
That just shows my ignorance on the entire sport.
There you go. And finally, Pekka is an action RPG detective noir game in which you embody a disgraced detective on the strangest case of his career, helping the ghost of a dead mobster in his aim to wash away his sins and reach for heaven. Grab your gun, hit the streets, and do what you do best. Investigate and interact with the scum. Top-down, 2D adventure game that looks like it has some, like, shooting mechanics that made me think of Hotline Miami, but not quite as fast and frantic.
I'm looking forward to this. I've reached out to the developer to see if I can't get a code to stream this weekend, but this looks kind of cool. By the way, Peccademosa, I believe, is a variant of Spanish for sinful. I'm not positive on that.
Pecaminosa?
Or like sin, full of sin.
Something. And anyway, that does it for new releases, and I'm about onto Scotch, so I think that's going to be it, my friend.
Yes, that does it for new releases, which means that does it for the show as well. This has been GamePoints episode 265, and thank you all very much for showing up. We do stream this show live every Tuesday over at twitch.tv/GamePoints, so feel free to join in the conversation. If you can't watch us live, you can also catch us over at youtube.com/GamePointsPC. You can follow the show over at Twitter on GamePointsPC, myself, Stephen Brown at CapitalistPig21, and David there at PassRough_story. There's also a Discord that you can see, link provided down below there if you want to be part of the greater GamePoints community, as well as all the links to the stories we talk about today. But yeah, thank you very much. If you want to support the show, you know what to do. Likes, follows, subs, all that good stuff. But until then, until next time, stay safe, take care, and we'll be seeing you.